In this easy Procreate tutorial, I will show you how to draw this beautiful night landscape step by step. Before we begin, you can download the brush set and color palette we will use by the link in the video description. If you are ready, let's grab our pencils and get started. Let me first create a new canvas. To do that, I will click here on this plus button and select the first option, which is my iPad screen size. It makes 2048 by 2732 pixels. Today's tutorial will be rather simple, and I hope you'll have lots of fun drawing this night landscape with me. We are going to use mainly native Procreate brushes. Also, I've gone ahead and created the set with an extra texture and a few stamps that will make the drawing process even faster and easier. You can download it along with the color palette for free on the link under this video. If you like my free brushes and these YouTube tutorials, please check out my Patreon page, where I share exclusive brush sets and in-depth Procreate tutorials. The link to my Patreon is also below the video. Without further ado, let's start drawing. Since the big circle in the middle and the background color look similar, it will be much better if we first draw the circle and after that change the background color. So I'm going to the color palette to select color number 2. Now in the brushes we gotta go to calligraphy and pick monoline. When drawing circular shapes, I recommend you to use brushes that are non-tapered. This way it will be much easier to match the tips. In our case, monoline is just perfect. The size doesn't matter here. It can be set to around 20%. And I will start drawing a circle like this. Let's match it, and after that tap on the canvas to make it perfect. If you start moving the pencil to the side, we can resize it. Let's make it not very big. Approximately like this. And now that we have the shape, we can drag the color inside to fill it. Now let's center the circle. And to do that, we need to go to transformation, which is under this arrow. And in snapping settings, enable snapping option. If we now start dragging the circle, we will see these yellow intersections, which means it is centered now. In the next step, I want to create a frame. We just need to duplicate the circle and recolor the one on top into color number 4. So I'm selecting it from the palette and dragging it inside the shape. Now we also need to scale it. So let's go back to transformation and transform it uniformly. I will start dragging this point slightly down and also this one. We can now center it as well. And finally we can change the background color. To do that, I will create a layer under all layers. Grab the color number 1, which is dark, and drag and drop it on the canvas. Now we can also shade the frame by adding some lighter shade to it. So let's select the third color. Also alpha lock the layer with the dark circle. And from airbrushing, select soft brush. Let's adjust the brush size and make it rather big to cover bigger area. Can be around 30% or so. I will start painting on this side. And move up a little. And also to the left. The opposite side will stay dark. Like this. And now that it is ready, let's start drawing the landscape. It will have a few layers, each with its own shading. And of course all these layers need to stay inside the pink circle. So we will combine clipping mask and alpha lock. It's a great opportunity to practice both and understand them better. So let's go ahead and go to the layer with the pink circle, and after that create another one that we need to clip. Let's now select color number 5. And also from inking, I will pick technical pen. Its size is set to 30%. And I will draw a horizontal line that will go from the left side to the right. Like this. It can be slightly curvy. Now we need to connect the invisible part of it. And fill this part with the color. Now let's create a layer between these two. And it'll get clipped right away, because the layer on top has a clipping mask. Here I want to add a lighter color. That will be number 6. So let's draw another line slightly upper. It will also go from left to right. Like this. We also need to connect it. And then fill. Now that we have these two layers, we can shade them. And let's start with this one. So I'm going to alpha lock the layer. And this way the shading will stay only inside this layer. Let me grab color number 7, which is slightly lighter. And in this tutorial, for shading I'm going to use a brush from Spray Paints. It has a very cool soft texture with particles. And it is called Medium Nozzle. I think we didn't use it before. Let me tweak the brush size. It can be around 15%. And I will start drawing at the lower side. To add a highlight like this. Going all the way to the right. And after we did that, I also want to do this. I think this line looks very smooth and not very natural. So we need to add some details to it. Now we need to unlock the layer. To be able to use Liquify, it can be found here in Adjustments, at the bottom of the list. Here I have crystals selected, and also pressure and distortion are at maximum values. The size is set to 29%, and I will start making a stroke along the upper edge. Like this. I apply this technique a lot in my landscapes. Now we got this. Let's deselect it and do the same with the first dark layer. It's this one, number 4. We don't need to unlock it because we didn't alpha lock. Let's just select Liquify and also work on the edge. We can try to do it from both sides. And this is the result we will get. Looks quite nice. And now that we have these two shapes, we can determine the road on the dark area. I want to do it on another layer, so let's go ahead and create one. And after that also clip. It is located on top of all layers. Now let's select this light color number 8. Go back to inking and select dry ink. The size of the brush can be first set to 11%. So we will add these road markings on the sides. The brush is pressure responsive, which gives us more control over the thickness. If we apply low pressure in the beginning, the line will be thin. Let me start with the one on the right. I will draw like this and increase pressure while going down. If you wait a second, the shape will get perfect. And we can stretch it even. Like this. Now let's do the same on the opposite side. I will start drawing from this point and go to the left. Then we can also adjust it. And even edit the line. Now that we have these two lines, let's also add the marking in the center. It needs to be a little thicker. So let's increase the brush size a little bit, to around 14%. And also draw the same way, increasing the pressure while going down. Let me also edit it. And after that I will go to grab a razor. Let's also set it to dry ink. Set the size to around 13% and start erasing some parts. These parts will get smaller as they go further. I will erase a couple of more shapes. And after that change the brush in the eraser. This time it needs to be soft brush. Let's increase the size. And erase the lines in the beginning. It will also give us a feeling of depth and perspective. Just a couple of adjustments. And this part is ready. We can create one more layer and place it under the layer with the markings. Here I'm going to use selection. That will help us a lot. So let's go here and pick freehand from the menu. I will do this. Outline a triangular shape next to this line. It will also go with perspective. And then do the same on the right. Just making a triangle. Let's tap here. And we have two selections that we can use now. We need to tap on the brush to select it and go to spray paints. I will continue using medium nozzle brush, but only change the color. For the left side, I will first select color number 7. And probably we need to adjust the size. Let me try it first. I think we can keep it at 15%. And start making strokes on top edge. Like this. Then switch to the light color, number 8, and highlight it here. Just a tiny bit. Now let's work on the opposite side. And here I'm going to use different colors. Let's start with color number 9. And also apply it on the edge. After that, I will select the next color, that is number 10. And add it more on top. For the highlight. Now that we have these two shapes, let's go and deselect. Now I also want to use liquify on both sides. Let's select it from the menu and continue using it in crystals. I will work on this edge first, so it'll look like grass, and also on this one. You can also try to go on different sides. See which one works best for you. Now when these two are ready, we can also grab a eraser and slightly erase the beginning, because it is going to the horizon. It becomes invisible. Like this. Now the ground is totally ready, we can add the mountains. So let's go to the layer with the pink circle, and after that create another one on top of it. It'll get clipped. Now let's select the base color for the first mountain. It will be number 11. For drawing I'm going to use technical pen from inking section. So let's go ahead and select it. Then set the size to around 20% and draw the first mountain on the left. It will just go as a line. Maybe a bit curvy. We need to connect the invisible part of it and then fill. To adjust the shape we can use liquify in push mode. I will just make this side a bit smaller, so we have more space for mountains. Okay, now it is better. Let's create another layer below this one. And using the same color, draw another mountain shape on top. It'll go like this. Almost parallel. Let me also connect it and drag the color. Now we can change the color into number 13 and make another layer under this one. Let me draw another simple shape. Maybe make it a bit more curvy. It may also intersect the previous mountain and then go down. I'm also connecting this part and fill in. And after that we need to create the last layer, right above the circle. Draw the last mountain shape on this side. I will make it more curvy. Let it go down. And I'm also connecting it on the side. Then fill in. Let me push it a bit down. maybe make this peak more outstanding. And now I like the shape. We can proceed to shading. We need to go back to our shading brush, and if you remember, it was medium nozzle from spray paints. To apply the shading, let's first alpha lock the layer, and then change the color into number 14. The size of the brush is set to 18%, and I will start making strokes at the bottom of the shape, going slightly up, and apply very low pressure. After this part is highlighted, let's select a lighter shade number 15 and apply it more at the bottom, like this, to separate these two mountains. We can also add it on the tip. And after we did that, let's proceed to the next layer. I'm also alpha locking it and selecting color number 14. Let's apply it on this part, also with low pressure, and shade the edge like this. This is also ready now. I'm going to the next layer, that is number 9, and alpha locking it. I'm not using a clipping mask here because if we do, it will be applied to all mountain layers. But we need to shade only this one, so alpha lock is better. We also need to change the color here. Let it be number 12. I will apply it at the lower edge, build the shading gradually, and go slightly down. Let's also apply it at the bottom here. Keep the upper side dark. Okay, this one is also ready. Let's finish the last one. It's number 8. I'm applying alpha lock here as well, and I will shade it with the same color. Also apply it here at the bottom. Go to the right side and make a stroke going up, like this. Now when all these mountains are ready, let's also work on the edges. So to be able to apply liquify tool, we first need to unlock the layer. Then select the tool and pick crystals. I will make a fast stroke like this. Then go to the next layer, also remove alpha lock from it, and work on the edge, like this. Let's try not to overdo it, because these mountains are located far away, so we don't have to make them too detailed. I'm going to the next layer, number 10, also unlocking it, and doing the same on the edge. Okay, let's finish this one, number 11, and do it like this, just a tiny bit. Okay, now these mountains are ready. Let's draw some on the right side. Let's create a layer right above the circle. I will keep using the same color, just in order to make it visible for you, but later we will change it. Let's just select technical pen from inking and draw a triangular shape, reminding a pyramid. I will start from here and go up like this. I just want these mountains to look different. We need to connect the outlines and then fill. After that we can create another layer under this one and draw another mountain behind. This time it'll go like this. More horizontal. But we also need to connect it and drag the color. Now that we have the shapes and they are visible, let's adjust the color. As the base one, I want to use number 15. As you see, it is very close to the background. That's why I didn't use it. Let me just drag it on the shape now. And after that I will alpha lock it for shading. Here I will apply two colors and start with number 16. Let's change the brush into medium nozzle. I will lower the size to around 13% and start making subtle strokes on this highlighted part. We can also add this color here. And after that switch to a lighter shade on the right. It is number 17. Let's add a highlight here on the edge. And also go slightly upper. Separating these two mountains. Now let's go to this dark mountain and also recolor it first into number 15. We can just drag the color inside it and after that apply alpha lock. Let's also first apply color number 16 from the palette. Highlight it in the center. And after that select color number 17, which is slightly lighter. I will apply it at the bottom of the shape. Yet go to the right. Now the mountains got some volume. And I think they look nice. We just need to finish it by working on the edge. So let me unlock this layer and apply Liquify tool. Just a little bit. Let's do the same with the other layer. And now these two are ready. Let's finally start working on the background, inside the circle. I'm creating a layer right above it, and it is getting clipped. Here I'd like to add a gradient, but make it textured. So we can use medium nozzle brush. And first I will pick dark color, number 7. Let me increase the brush size to around 60% and start making strokes on top of the circle. Go down, and even if the color gets opaque on top, it is totally fine. Now we can select color number 14 and start making strokes in the opposite direction. Let it go up. Now let's pick the lightest tone, that is number 17, and apply it close to the mountains. We can make a few more strokes that will go up. This way we will blend all the colors together. We can actually try to move this layer without snapping, or even rotate if needed. This way. Now that we have the background, we can try to add some celestial objects. It can be the moon or some planets. I want to keep it very simple. So I will just create a layer on top of the texture. Go to Selection and use it in Ellipse, without color fill. We first need to create a circular selection. Somewhere here. Of course later we can move it. Right now we just need to create a selection and tap on the brush to activate it. Let's first select this bluish color number 18 and adjust the brush size. I will first use it at 22% and start making a stroke on the right side. The texture may go slightly inwards. Now let's make the size smaller, at around 10%, and apply it more pressing on the edge, to make it almost opaque. After we applied this color, we can add a lighter tone. Let it be number 19. I will just put it here. And also at the bottom, like this. Finally, let's add a darker tone. Number 20. I will make a stroke on top for the smooth transition. Like this. And after we did that, we can deselect. Let me now move it a little upper and slightly to the right. We will place another object on the left. So it needs to be symmetrical. I think I will scale it a little bit. And after that, duplicate the layer. Let's make this one smaller. Move it upper. And maybe rotate it a little, so these two objects don't look identical. I will rotate it counterclockwise. Like this. Let me make it a bit smaller. And put it here on the side. So they overlap just a little bit. And now that we have these two objects, we can apply a texture overlay on top of the circle. For that, I'm going to create a layer on top of all layers and then clip it. Let's set it to overlay mode. And after that, go to select the paper texture. It will be craft paper. Now we can go to the color disk to select pure white color. We can do that by double tapping on the white area. And now just make a stroke inside the circle. If you want to make it brighter, you can try to make another stroke. Before we add some more elements, let's work on the background of the canvas. So first of all, I will go ahead and duplicate the very first layer with a circle. It's the blue frame. Now let's go to this one and alpha lock it to recolor. Now from the color palette, let's select color number 21. Go back to the layer. And in the menu, select Fill Layer. It will change the color. Now we need to remove alpha lock from it, so we can apply Gaussian blur. So let's select it from the adjustments and slide the pencil to the right. I will set the amount of Gaussian blur to 83%. And we will get this gradient, only the corners will stay dark. Now we can also play around with various blending modes and see which one works best. I want the color to shine a little brighter, so I will scroll down and set it to Add. Now I think it looks better. Now let's finish our drawing by adding more elements. It will be trees and the birds. I will create a layer above the texture and pick the darkest color from the palette. It is number 5. Now we just need to select a stamp. I have a few trees here. I just wanted to save you some time, so instead of drawing the trees, we will be using stamps. I will select number 1. Set the size to around 31% and tap somewhere on the canvas. Now let me move it a bit upper and more to the left side. I want this tree to go a little outside the circle, so I will put it here. Let me now duplicate the layer and move one of the trees to the right. I want to distort this one, so let me select this option from the menu. And I will drag it to the sides like this. Also make it more narrow on top, so it looks like triangle. Now I will switch to uniform transformation and make it smaller. Let me adjust the location and put it somewhere here. And then I will remove the spot. We can do it easily by using freehand selection. So let's just outline it. Then swipe 3 fingers down and click Cut. It will be removed. Also, I want to add the birds. So let me create one more layer. and pick the bird stamp. Let's pick the brush size for this stamp. I think it can be set to around 12%, and I will just tap and then move it. Maybe I will make it slightly bigger and place it like this. One of the birds will stay outside the circle. After we did this, let's finally add the shadow that comes from the circle on the background. We can do it easily. All we need to do is duplicate the sleigh with the circle, then go to this one and make it pure black. For that, let's go to Hue Saturation Brightness from Adjustments and lower the brightness to none. Next, I want to use another type of blur. It will be motion blur. We need to slide diagonally and set the amount to around 75%. We can adjust the angle here, so it goes more to the side. Now we can deselect it and move it more to the right side. Match it with the circle here. Also, I will go to the layer and set the mode to overlay. Then lower the opacity and set it to around 64%. To achieve a better contrast between shadow and light, let's do this. Go to the layer with this light green color, then to Adjustments, pick Hue Saturation Brightness, and start to make it brighter, until you like the result. I think I will set it to around 57 or 58%. And after this final step, our drawing is complete. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. For more tutorials and brush sets, check out my Patreon page. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon!